Hello, everybody. What's going on, guys? Hello. What's up, my friends? I hope everybody's doing good, doing well. We are live, and we have all these beautiful people with us today. It's another month, and some incredible things have happened, and we've been just seeing all this craziness happen. Hello, Corey. Hello, Chadley. Hello, Shadow. Hello, Vench. Hello, James. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing well, doing fine in this beautiful evening. Man, a lot has happened this month, eh, guys? A lot has happened. Thank you, Shadow, for joining us this podcast, and thank you, James, for taking the time and joining us as well in this podcast.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's kick it. Let's start right away. Start like with the number one question I always ask every podcast. How is everybody? And anything new and exciting happening this month? So let's start with James.
Well, I mean, Super Mario Maker 2. I mean that seems to be the biggest thing that's been going on as of late. But yeah, that's all I've been playing, and that's probably the biggest thing that's been going on. And then of course we got E3. You know, a lot of E3 news that we recently got. So there's that.
Are you doing anything exciting on your channel? Anything?
Yeah, well, right now, yeah.
Are you playing anything off stream besides streaming stuff? Is there anything that you're specifically playing just for yourself?
Super Mario Maker 2, Minecraft. What else am I playing? I'm not sure if I'm doing anything else off stream. I think just Super Mario Maker 2 and Minecraft at the moment. So yeah, that's about it.
Nice. Shadow, what about you? Anything new and exciting happening for you? And what games are you playing off stream on your leisure time?
Yeah, right now I'm doing some Super Mario Maker 2, both on and off stream. I'm doing the Mega Man X Legacy Collection because I love Mega Man. It's so much fun. There's other games I've downloaded yet, but I have just not enough time to do. Like, you throw like 30 games on your plate and you're just like, oops. But as for the channel, I'm usually looking for like more collaborations, more and exciting things. We just reached the 700 mark, which is phew, finally. But you know, just like a lot of fun, exciting things for the channel. We'll see what happens in the future, though, little by little.
Nice. Chadley, what about you, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I got the chance to do a little bit of Mario Maker. I haven't really had a chance to play much. So I'm really excited to dive into that when I start doing my first stream of it. But other than that, really, there's nothing else that I've been really playing other than what I stream on a weekly basis. So
For sure.
But yeah, things are good.
That's good. I'm glad to hear. Corey, what about you, buddy? What are you up to?
Well, like everyone here, basically. Mario Maker 2, that's consumed the last couple of days. I don't even want to look at Mario Maker 2 for the next week, to be honest. I'm tired of seeing it myself and everybody streaming it. I can't go on YouTube on my TV without seeing playing Mario Maker. So anyways, but I really haven't played a whole lot on my own free time lately. I've been really swamped with work. But I played a little bit of Time Spinner.
Yeah,
it's a really cool game. It's kind of like Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Nice.
Yeah, that and Graveyard Keeper. I played a little bit of that too recently.
Nice.
That's about it.
Benji, what about you, buddy?
You already know when it comes to there's the whole Maker hype, but besides that, I've been playing a lot of Borderlands. I'm trying to really get in with that game. I've been playing it a bit, been enjoying it a lot ever since they ported it over to the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
As far as exciting things goes, obviously, since I started with Maker with the Nintendo community, I'm super excited about that. Been having fun with that. But I would say the thing that was even more exciting for me is just the simple fact that I have been making the push to try to get myself back into doing YouTube streams earlier in the day, because one of the things that I told myself it would be really good now that I kind of got myself back together mentally. I'm trying really hard to look past whatever issues that I have in my mind and try to make the effort to do more YouTube streams when I can. So that's what's up with me.
Nice, nice. Yeah, nothing new and exciting for me. Off stream, I'm teaching myself how to create levels on Mario Maker 2. I've never created levels in my whole life. I did the first one ever. Other than that, I've been playing with my son offline. We've been just kind of hanging out a little bit more. He wants to spend time with daddy. So we've been just picking anything up and playing together. And then this Monday's a holiday for us. It's Canada Day, so that's exciting. So we're just we're gonna be celebrating it, and that's really all that's been happening. All the excitement. That's all. All right, guys, let's jump into it. There's a lot of things that everybody wants to talk about, and I know a lot of you are anticipating this, and we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into it because everyone's been waiting for this question and this game. So, on the topic of Mario Maker, it's out now. We've all tasted it. We've all played it. How do you guys feel about it? What do you guys have to say about it? And is it the game that you all wanted? Or is there stuff missing? So let's start off with James. What are your thoughts on Mario Maker 2?
Oh boy, I'll put it on the spot first, I guess. Okay, well, with Super Mario Maker 2, I think the one thing that I wish was in the game that was omitted, but may possibly come in an update, hopefully, is the Koopalings. I mean, Bowser Jr. and Bowser. I mean, they're like the usual enemies that you get, but I think that the Koopalings would have been a nice addition. Be able to change, that like boss, at the end of the stage, if you want to introduce that as a surprise or whatever when you're doing your stage. Also, I'd like to see more baddies from other games, or other Mario games, kind of, make their way into Super Mario Maker 2. I don't know if you guys remember the Reznor in Super Mario World. I think they should have introduced that in Mario Maker 2. Again, easily fix that with an update. And of course, the glaring omission that thankfully Nintendo had decided, yeah, we're gonna allow you guys to do that. We're gonna update the game, and that's to be able to play with friends, co-op or multiplayer, whatever. But we already know that they're gonna adjust that in a future update. So thank God for that. But other than that, I haven't played the game long enough to actually think about what else may have been added or what was missing that I wish was there. So I guess over time, as I play it more often, I'll be able to, add to that list of things that I want to see in Mario Maker 2.
Yeah. Shadow, what about you, buddy?
I mean, like James said, I'd like to see the online multiplayer co-op kind of expand a little bit more, so that way we all could do our collabs finally. It's going to be a fun thing when it does happen in the future updates. But again, the biggest one right now I'm having is the issues again with hitboxes. They're so broken. They're so jank. They need tweaking. They need fixing. It seems to me like the Spike's hitbox is a little bit bigger than its, sprite, as well as a few other things. I mean, the lag is the biggest issue right now between multiplayer co-op and versus. That goes without saying right now. But other than that, story mode's fun. Maybe, add on a few other things like, James again with Reznor, because Reznor is pretty fun, and you can make new and exciting boss battles instead of the same old. So yeah, I could see new better things and other that stuff.
Chadley, what about you, buddy? What are your thoughts in the little bit you've played of it?
I don't know. Well, when you guys were talking about the different enemies and stuff, enemies that popped in my head that would be really cool to add are the Koopalings, like all the different of Bowser's kids, I guess you could say, adopted kids. Because they all have different abilities, and if they bring them in and have them be sort of like bosses, like just being that, to give you a different variety of different types of boss battles you could create with those different characters. Just because obviously in Super Mario World they all had different things that they did, and then even in the new Super Mario Bros. Games they had even different abilities and stuff. So like I think that would be really fun to have them be added in so that people could create interesting levels with different kinds of boss battles. I mean, I know they added Meowser and a couple other guys that we were hoping they would add. But yeah, I mean, if they're going to update the game, I mean, why not?
No, for sure, for sure.
As far as playability, like the multiplayer is a big disappointment right now for me.
Yeah.
Especially the local multiplayer. I was expecting the local multiplayer to basically be similar to the online multiplayer, where you would just jump into levels, and here to find out that you have to download the level, and then you can play the level locally with multiplayer, but it's like very cumbersome just to like go play multiplayer in that game right now, even with
Wow.
local multiplayer. So, because I went to try to do it with my son on Saturday, and we were like, how do you do multiplayer? It's like when you go into the multiplayer menu, it's all network based, it's all like online based, and come to find out, it's like, oh yeah, sorry, but you have to you got to find a level that you like, you got to download it, then you got to go into the whatever the core spot thing, and then you got to go over here and click on the icon that shows
Oh my
players,
gosh.
and it's like it's like the most cumbersome thing just to play local multiplayer on a level. Like, so I'm hoping that they fix that, along with adding the ability to play with your friends. Like, I just hope they make the whole system a little bit more intuitive and like not so hard just
Yeah.
to play with people.
No, for sure, for sure. Corey, what about you, buddy?
Well, the game's been out for about 3 days, depending on where you live. 2 days, maybe. A lot of us have played it. I'm not going to claim it's a perfect game, but I'm going to say that for my intents and purposes, it's a perfect game. I don't have anybody here that I really worry about playing locally co-op with, so I get that. It's almost perfect. It's almost perfect because the multiplayer online with friends would make it basically perfect. But, you know, I don't have the whole local co-op problem because I don't have any friends. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't have anybody here that comes around a whole lot that I play with, you know. The story mode's fantastic in my opinion. The writing maybe like juvenile, I guess, at best. You know, it's not amazing, but it's great. I laugh at it. I think it's hilarious. So I don't see a problem with it.
Mhm.
You know, the levels in story mode are quite have a variety of from super easy up to pretty challenging and make me curse the dang thing out at times.
Mhm.
You know, and then like the online levels I've played, I've had great time playing all of them. The missing enemies and this and that, you know, we all have our wish list. I wish they could just add everything that they've ever had in any 2D Mario game and then some.
Yeah.
It's not reasonable at all, you know, honestly. And so whatever they do add is a bonus, but what they've given us so far, personally, I think is great.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure they'll be adding stuff to it. I can't imagine it's gonna be dead in the water after this release. It's one of their biggest, most hyped games of the year, and further than that, you know, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm loving it so far, and like I said, for my intents and purposes, it's basically a perfect game almost already.
For
And
sure.
I have very little complaint about it at all.
Benj, what about you, buddy?
Hey, you guys hit all the nails on the coffin there. but that's awesome because there are a few things that I would like to share, especially my opinion. So I don't want to try to reiterate the same thing too much, like beating a dead horse. But I will say that as far as the game as a whole, I agree with Corey. Pretty much, I'm pleased with the game thus far, especially I found it very strange, but the little wrinkle where people can actually create levels that's objective based. I mean, of course, the downside with that is some people could make those objectives downright ridiculous, but having that there just expands the game that much more, and I'm very impressed with that. I played some levels that incorporated that, and it was done pretty well. If there was anything that concerns me outside of the things that was already mentioned, is nerfing how many cat Bowsers you can put in a level. Because like cat Bowser, if you have more than, I would say even more than one, they are totally obnoxious. If you've seen the
Oh shoot,
all-out
we're being
attack-
raided. Sorry, Benj, we're
Oh.
being raided. Welcome, raiders. How you guys doing? It's Red Raven. Red Raven is raiding us right now.
That was a mouthful.
Yeah. So there's Super Batuka and Michi. Oh, I haven't seen Michi in forever. Where is Red Raven? There's Jesse. There he is. Hey, Red Raven, how you doing, buddy? Guys, Red Raven's an awesome streamer. He was playing Super Mario Maker. Wouldn't you believe? We're just talking about that. Definitely take the time.
I'm so shocked.
I know, right? He's a lovely
face.
streamer. He took the time to rate us. We could take the time to check his channel out. I was gonna say, yeah, continue. Bench, go ahead, buddy.
Where I left off, I believe it was about the cat Bowser, because like one is crazy enough because like he's really on you like white on rice. So when you have more than one, if any of you ever seen the all-out attack in Persona 5, that's literally what it looks like when you literally have like 3 cat Bowsers, because they're all over the screen. And
Nice
the,
reference, by the way.
here is one thing. Thank you. Here's one thing that I am impressed with is how they use the foreground and the background,
Yeah.
and how stuff can come at you from an angle. So seeing those fireballs coming in on you from everywhere is absolutely beautiful, but outrageously frustrating. So I just feel like that's one thing that they could nerf, is like how many cat Bowsers you could throw in there.
Yeah. You know what? There's one thing that I really enjoy. And it works because I notice a lot of complaints from people who do troll levels on this, and that's the rating system in Mario Maker. Because so I go into Super Expert and I'm not getting tons of troll levels, which I really love. And apparently people are saying that the people who are putting troll levels in, they're getting like nerfed because of the booing, right? So they're removing those off of Super Expert and stuff like that because of that reason. So I guess it works. I didn't think it worked.
Also,
in my head, I didn't think of it that it would work. I just like, well, they're still gonna show up, but apparently it is working. So cool.
one factor with that is that what people have noticed to a big point is that levels don't get suggested in the endless chat unless they have at least 1 like already on them.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So if people are creating these troll levels and making them and just having them made and nobody's played them yet or nobody's clicked like on them yet, they aren't going to get suggested in there.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But can I say something about the rating, the liking booze real quick? Because I thought about this and I was like, this is something. It's not really a big deal, but I was having this conversation with somebody else with Natic yesterday about. So we have likes and boos, and you get to see you get to see how many likes your level has, but you don't get to see how many boos your level has.
Oh, really?
I understand that as a factor for like maybe, young kids you don't want them to get hurt, their feelings hurt and stuff like that. But I kind of curious why we don't get to see it at all. Like it almost isn't like a factor that doesn't matter, but it does matter because it does lower your maker point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I did notice I was sitting at like a certain number of points or whatever, and then a couple hours later I was down by about 5 or 6 points. So I'm assuming that I got a boo on my level.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you would lose points realistically. But it's like you don't get to see your boos on your level, so it's almost worthless to have it as a factor. Why do I get to see my likes but not my boos?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree.
It's just a weird thing. Like I said, it doesn't really offend me or anything. It's not that big of a deal, but why? Like,
no,
I
exactly.
kind of want to see, but I also kind of don't want to see the boos that I have.
No,
I don't want to see that my level has 600 boos on it, like 3 likes.
No, for
Because
sure.
My levels are probably kind of crap, so they probably would have a bunch of boos on them.
I mean,
But it still seems like a strange like a metric to have that's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
On one side of it, but if it affects your, getting shown up in the endless and things like that, I mean, it makes sense to exist, but I still kind of want to see it.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Corey. I would kind of like to see this whole boo, like this boo.
Like a
I love it
ratio or something.
Yeah, exactly, like a KDR almost. It would work.
Analytics.
But
Do we break Venge over there?
I mean, my biggest complaint with the game has to be, and I've tried it, and I'm trying to like it, is the multiplayer. But every experience I've had with multiplayer since day one, it has been terrible lag. And not just in-game lag, but I'm talking about sometimes you'll get that 10-second lag and you're like, oh shoot, you're gonna have a bad time. And then you realize your input is warped now and you got input lag on top of the actual game lag. And I can't play. I can't play like that. I can't enjoy multiplayer.
On a Switch that I've had any lag with has been Smash Bros. Now I haven't played multiplayer on this yet, so I can't speak for it. But I mean, like I've never had lag. People complain about lag on Mario Kart. I've never had that problem.
I've never had that problem either.
Splatoon, I've never had any kind of lag on
Same.
Splatoon.
And I've only had on Smash Bros, but that's since Wii U version, and now I'm having it on this game, and like
like I said, I haven't played on Mario Maker, so I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah,
I assume I'll have that issue too. But
which is
But I got for you guys. Sorry for
no, go ahead. Yeah,
but I'm really curious about this because I was experimenting with this when it came to Maker, and it was strange. I played with the Joy-Con. The Joy-Cons. It felt like there was actually input lag, like a millisecond. Then I played with this right here. The GameCube one. Oh, I'm the wrong webcam.
Oh.
The GameCube one. There was
This is what
best invention ever.
And then when I use like a wired like controller, because I recently got a wired one, and it definitely fixed it right up. I don't know the effects of the Pro controller, but I'm wondering if anyone ever felt or experienced a hint of input lag between the controllers you use.
So I haven't tried with my GameCube one because I don't know if it. I'm assuming it would work right with the Smash Bros thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
If it does, great. But I've only played on the Pro control, and I have no input on this. This one works fine. Zero.
That's the wireless one?
This is the wireless one. Yeah, this is the one that I bought day one. So I have no issues there. But I can tell you, it's like with the Wii U. When I used the Pro control on the Wii U, I had input lag. But if I use the tablet, I had no lag. So I think it's just like.
And see, I use this Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Wirelessly over this adapter here, and I get no input lag.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I work with this lovely plugged-in one, and yeah, there's no input lag on mine for this, but yeah, Joy-Cons definitely.
Hey, Shadow, is that the one where you can change the faceplates?
Yeah, actually, it's the one you can change the base plates. You go, I think, Walmart or something like that. Walmart, GameStop, they're like $20-25.
They're just like, I'm on it.
And Silent makes a point here. He says that DGR did mention something about the Joy-Cons having problems on Mario Maker 2. And I agree with Supa. The D-pad on the Pro control sucks.
Does.
Like I can't.
Super Nintendo control.
Yeah, that's why. And remember we were talking about that, Corey. I was telling Corey that I want a better control, so I was gonna connect my GameCube because of that. But I want what Corey has now because if you're able to use your Super Nintendo control with that little thing, I want it.
$20. It also works for GameCube controllers, by the way. You can plug in a GameCube. So this is a fully Bluetooth wireless device that on one side has the classic controller plug.
Oh, cool.
So any of that style accessory should work, and it'll connect as a Pro controller essentially. It'll emulate one.
See, there it is.
All right, what controller is that you're using, Corey? Is that the one from the Mini, or is that something else?
Oh, the controller itself is from the classic, from the Super Nintendo Classic.
What?
No.
You gonna have to.
We just blew Venge's mind.
The plug that all those minis use and all on the side. So.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah, you got to drop that.
I love the excitement in that. What?
I know.
All right. So overall, let's give Mario Maker a score. Why not? Overall, ready? So James, what do you score it out of 10?
I give it a 9. It has a lot of potential, and there are opportunities for Nintendo to patch it with updates in the future. So I'd give it a solid out of 10.
speaking of updates, don't forget, like Nintendo was updating constantly Mario Maker 1 for a long time, even
yeah.
when the Switch was out. So, Shadow, what about you? What do you give it out of 10?
I'd give it about a 9 out of 10. Like I said, like James said, there's just little tweaks that it needs to get done over updates. Other than that, it's a pretty solid game.
And Chadley, what do you give it?
Yeah, like 8.5, 9. The multiplayer was big for me because I was like, oh, cool, I get to do Mario Maker with my kids now.
Yeah.
On levels and stuff, because we always enjoyed playing multiplayer for like 3D World, New Super Mario Bros. U, and Mario Bros. Wii. Like those games were awesome playing multiplayer, and like Mario Maker is basically just adding to that. And yeah, right now that's what brings the score down for me a little bit. But
Yeah,
other
for
than that,
sure.
I mean, yeah, the game is awesome.
And Corey, what do you give it out of 10?
I'd say about 9.5 in its current state. Add the co-op multiplayer with friends thing or whatever, and it's a solid 10.
Benj, what do you give it?
Yeah, same. I would say about a good 9. Basically, because of the multiplayer issue. I mean, like, you figured that's something that they would have thought. I would have thought they would have thought about that more carefully, especially considering how big multiplayer is in this generation. I mean, it's massive, and they kind of dropped the ball on it. But of course, they're gonna work on that. So I'm hoping that they really hit the nail on the coffin with that.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 9, just because of the multiplayer. It all comes down to the
People, your
multiplayer.
low scores.
So I guess we can agree overall the game it's good. Nintendo did a good job with it. I guess we can say overall.
Yes.
Other than the multiplayer.
That's it.
That's it.
Well,
There
in
you go.
fairness, it's hard to blame Mario Maker itself for the online, like for the lag and stuff on the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Because with the lack of servers and just using peer-to-peer, you're gonna have that problem. I'm not saying like the team that worked on Mario Maker isn't at all responsible, but I feel like it's hard to detract points for that on Mario Maker itself.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, let's move on to the big things. We got other things to talk about. So, E3 finished, and we got lots of good news and lots of bad news. But overall, are you happy with what was announced at E3? So, this is just overall, what you expected to show up at E3. Was it satisfied, or do you feel that there was some things missed? So let's just start with James with that one.
I think going into this E3 this year, I tempered my expectations. I didn't think too highly as far as what they were going to release or what they were going to announce. I was going to be like, oh, if they announce a Pikmin game or a Pikmin 3 re-release or HD, the Switch, or whatever. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, that's great. But I never expected a Breath of the Wild 2 sequel to come out, man. When they came out with that trailer, I was like, it was at that moment right there. Is like, that just made my E3 right there. That one announcement, and all they did was just like a 60-second trailer, and that was it. So that made my E3. As far as the other ones, I didn't watch Ubisoft. I didn't watch Bethesda because I was at work, but I did tune into the Square Enix presentation, and Final Fantasy VII Remake, man. I've been waiting for that for years, and I was so excited that they finally came out with a release date, and I'm actually considering buying a PS, which is something I've been holding out on for a long time. So they got that. And then with Microsoft, they came out with that trailer for Halo Infinite, and I was like, oh my god, it's about time. But they're saying it's going to be an Xbox Scarlet release, so I guess we're going to have to wait a little longer on that. But other than that, those were like the biggest highlights for me for E3.
But yeah, for sure. All right, so Shadow, what about you? So this is just your overall experience. Are you happy with what E3 presented?
I'm kind of in the middle still with it. I think the only thing that really made me excited were, some AAA titles. Like I've heard about Final Fantasy VII Remake for the longest, the rumors speculating around it, and I was going based on the rumors, like, oh, it's going to be $60, it's going to be episodic, and then they completely just threw that all that out the window. Like, no, it's not episodic, it's a 2-disc.
No, it is episodic. They said it's going to be.
Really?
They said Midgar is going to be its own game at least.
What?
Yeah, we're at least looking at 2 games.
Okay, so either way, though, to me, it's still epic. It's amazing. There were some games, again, where it's like some were hit, some were miss. It was like, but it had a nice ebb and flow to it, like a nice dance in a way. Kind of disappointed, though, about Ubisoft, Bethesda, and I mean, except for the Bethesda hype man, of course. And the other amazing thing that turns 2019 into a meme is just Keanu Reeves. You're breathtaking.
Yes.
Well, check this out.
There it is,
But,
right
like,
there. It is.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's not get into all the depths because that's the next question. We still have a little bit. So I just want your overall experience. Yes, it was good. No, it was bad.
It was decent. I can't say it was bad. It was worth, watching the whole thing though.
Okay. I know, guys. E3's exciting. I just want right now. Yes, it was what you expected. No, and then we'll get into why. Chadley, what about you? How was your overall experience of E3?
Well, the only one I really remember is the Nintendo one.
Like this is some kind of Nintendo community or something.
Yeah.
What is this?
I listened to some of the other ones because I was obviously at work, so I was like in and out, only listening to it while I was working and stuff. So I didn't really get all of it. And then obviously the Nintendo one, I made sure that I rewatched it after it was live. Because again, I was at work and such. But that was the one I was the most interested in, of course. I don't know why, but maybe it's because I like Nintendo a little bit. But so yeah, I think Nintendo did an excellent job, and I feel the other ones were okay. So I would say overall, I would say the E3 was pretty good.
Perfect, Mr. Corey. I was gonna call you. I was gonna call you CC, and I was like, no.
How long we know each other? Okay, well,
he has a name. He has a name.
Okay,
Corey,
fair.
go ahead.
So overall, my E3 expectations were blown out of the water. Like, I don't know how there's any argument that this was just not a fantastic E3. But anyways, we don't have to argue that. But yeah, I personally, I didn't even watch Ubisoft. Well, I watched a little bit of it, but other than that, I watched most of them and I loved it. I thought it was great. I didn't have any real expectations, so maybe that helped.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. I thoroughly was impressed with E3.
What about you, Venge?
What
was your overall experience?
It was like, there was those moments where I got excited, and then it got to the point where I'm just sitting there waiting for the beat to drop, like, and I'm like, but
Wait, did it ever happen?
yeah, but overall, it was okay, because there were some things that I actually got excited about and got very curious about, and I'll just leave it at that.
I was very satisfied with 3 developers, and then one of those developers turned around and got me banned from YouTube.
You being soft.
Wait, I can't believe Bethesda would do that to you.
How could they, right? Jeez. But overall, I'm not gonna lie. I was it was okay. I was hoping to get it super excited about it, because I'm like, this is it. This is the year that E3 is gonna be good. But I was kind of let down a little bit, and I'll tell you guys once we get to that section. All right. So what was your favorite part of E3? Which dev did amazing? Which one were you most disappointed about? Let's start with James.
I was very impressed with Nintendo, for obvious reasons. Breath of the Wild 2 sequel. And then as far as disappointment, I feel like, and my disappointment should go towards Sony because they weren't even part of the E3 experience at all. But I guess my biggest disappointment would have to be with Square Enix. I felt that their presentation was a little lacking. I think the only good thing that they had going for them was the Final Fantasy VII remake presentation. But everything else to me just all right, another Tomb Raider. Okay. I mean, it looks great. I love it. Crystal Dynamics. They're doing a great job with Laura Croft. But I think the other games that they were presenting in that presentation, I don't know. They're not really getting me motivated, if you will. So
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mr. Shadow, you had lots and excitement things in your voice. What about you? What got you hyped? What didn't get you hyped? What dev impressed you?
Ooh, okay. So what got me super hyped the most was Nintendo, because they came out gloves completely off. They were like, smash character, smash character, smash character, amazing game, this one, just haymakers left and right. The most disappointing one had to be like Devolver, or Devolver. Just what was that? It was like a bad taste in your mouth. But yeah, to me the most hype was just Keanu Reeves coming out and just mind blown with Cyberpunk, and because you never expected it. You never thought it was going to be possible for like this this huge name celebrity just come out and just be amazing and just show us his talents besides the realm of just movies and stuff. I loved it. That part the most. But yeah, Nintendo to me was just pow, 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 pow. Like, give us your money. We'll take your wallet.
Chadley, what about you, buddy?
Well, obviously, I already kind of said it already and let it out of the bag. But yeah, Nintendo was my favorite part of it, obviously. Cyberpunk, that was pretty awesome to have that reveal with Keanu Reeves as being part of the game, lending his voice to it and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was actually like one game that was kind of announced, I guess, before E3 all started. Like it was like pre-E3, was that Death Stranding.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Like I don't have a PlayStation 4, but I mean that game. I don't know. It drew me in. Like I don't know. I don't understand any of the story behind it. I don't know if it comes from another franchise or anything like that, where it's like maybe is it continuing a story? Do you guys know? But either way, like the game was like it was like super cool. Like I just really liked the whole aesthetic of the game.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Corey?
I mean, this is gonna be an unpopular opinion here, but I have to say that I felt like Microsoft was the biggest and bestest to me.
Mm-hmm.
Bestest is not even a word.
That's how good it was.
I mean, honestly, like, not to like be a broken record about like what they just repeat what they said, but they showed off like 60 games. I know they sizzle reeled quite a few of them, obviously, but there was a lot, and a lot of them they kind of made it feel like they got exclusivity on, but they're not, because they were first and just didn't have to throw PlayStation's logo on, Tales of Arise and things like that. But they were hot. Like their scene was great. Their stage presence was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They had that scene underneath and everything, like that really crazy scene. And like I said, they showed off like 60 games, which a lot of them were really cool. And I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, I'm going to buy an Xbox for them. I do have an Xbox, so I can enjoy that anyway. But I just think overall, like theirs was probably the best to me, with very, very close like Nintendo, because Nintendo was just awesome, just throwing things at you like that. But the worst one probably was Devolver Digital, because they just, I don't know, it was worse than usual this year. Yeah. So that's kind of my hot take on it.
What about you, Venge?
Oh, let me recover. Okay, I'm good. I think I'm done laughing. So, for me, I've obviously got to go with like Nintendo. Yeah, I'm gonna have to beat the dead horse again. Um, my reason
Pretty
for
dead
that
already.
horse
Yeah.
is bleeding out really bad right now. Reason being is mainly because of like kind of the piggyback off of what Shadow said. I mean, like Nintendo hitting you left and right with all the haymakers. Because the thing that I loved about their E3 is the fact that they focused primarily on the games. Like this time, it wasn't necessarily on hardware or anything like that. They really want to let everyone know what's coming to the Switch, and I felt like that was really critical for them because of the fact that that was one of their biggest setbacks back
Mhm.
with the Wii U. They did not have that, and now they have that. So it's time for them to flaunt it, and they showed it off. They did their thing with that, which was awesome. Very good ending to the E3 with the announcement of Breath of the Wild 2 being in the works, which was really a strong finish. Shocked me because considering how gigantic that game was,
Mhm.
because I know I didn't finish it. um, for them to be working on another one already, that's pretty crazy. So if I was to say my worst one, I don't even know who those other guys is. Mention them, like, who are you? But besides that, I have to go with Square Enix because it was like they started off super strong with the Final Fantasy VII remake, but then after that, it was just it was a flat line. Because I mean, then you got all of these remakes, not even remakes, more like remasters and rehashing all the Final Fantasies. I understand that there's a lot of people in the Nintendo on the Nintendo side of things that did not get to experience a lot of that, but that isn't really that groundbreaking to me to actually be put on the E3 floor. Um, and my concern, as hype as Final Fantasy VII is going to be with the remake, there's still a lot of questions, like how far are they going to go. The biggest issue that I have with the whole thing about it being episodic, I do like the fact that they're going to make Midgar like the it's I feel like what they're gonna do is take that game and make it divided up into arcs, as you will.
Yeah.
And so they're going all the way up to Midgar. They'll end it to where they actually Cloud and the crew actually leaves Midgar. My biggest and greatest concern, which I wish they would have brought to light at E3, I felt like that would have been critical, is what's going to happen when they continue it. Okay, they bring in the next game, which is going to be part 2. RPGs has never been divided up into chunks like this, and so my greatest concern is you better be able to take your data from the first game and bring it over
RPGs
to
have
part
been
2.
chunked up like this in the past.
They
Yeah,
have. I didn't
yeah.
know.
And
But
one big example is Dot Hack.
Dot hack.
Yes, yes.
Dot
I didn't
Hack.
know nothing about
Seriously.
They have 4 games. Well, there's several games, but like the first 4 are like that. And after the first game, when you get to the second game, you can import your data from the
Mhm.
first
Okay,
one.
good.
And like all of them, basically, you can import your data going across all the way through to the 4th game. So, and I know it's not the only one, but that's just the biggest and first example that I can think of.
That's a good
That
one.
doesn't
then.
mean that you don't have valid concerns, but yes, this kind of thing has been done as far as like one continued story
Okay.
across multiple games, but that doesn't make me extremely happy for it either necessarily. But it can be done. It can be done if they do it right.
Okay. Well, that's my concern, what you brought up. Are they going to do this right? Because just because you cut it up, you can cut it up and still botch it up. See, that's the biggest
Absolutely.
concern that I have.
Mhm.
I remember them saying long ago that it's going to be episodic, that they're going to be adding additional content into that story. So, like, you figure with Midgar, they're going to have a lot of extra backstory, because I did notice that, and I hope they do that, because if they don't, this could present a problem. I still have concerns. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. So, but overall, I mean, that's about it. I'm gonna end it there.
You know what? In my opinion, I thought Nintendo was average. They showed me nothing new. I already knew all the games they presented. It's true. How many times did we not see their games in each of their what's it called? Their Nintendo
Yeah,
Directs.
the Nintendo Directs.
Let's
There
be
were
real.
a few games in their sizzle reel
Yeah,
that they didn't tell us. Now we knew some of these due to leaks. But
exactly.
Technically, they should have been new things to us.
It-
People wouldn't
it-
have leaked stuff out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of the games that they showed were already shown because of their Nintendo Direct. So for me, it was like, okay, I wasn't hyped for any of it. The only
Fair.
thing that hyped me was Legend of Zelda. But for me, the people who hyped me hard was Square Enix. You see, because for me, they showed a lot of new stuff. And let's be real, even though a lot of it's remake, I mean, technically it's only 1, 2, 3 remakes. And one of the 3 is Final Fantasy VIII. Like, that's huge. Because
This is only the second, well, maybe the third time it'll ever been released compared to all the rest of them.
exactly.
Yeah.
It only got
So-
one PC release and no other releases other than PS2 and PS1 and PC.
Exactly.
So-
And I feel they really kicked it. They really did a good job. They came in hard, and they showed a bunch of stuff. And again, yeah, I was gonna say they showed off a new game, The Avengers, and it looked amazing. There was a lot of games they showed, and for me, one of the games that I'm really interested in is Dragon Quest XI. I've never played it, and like I mean in the sense of like any Dragon Quest is what I'm trying to get at.
11
that's-
is great.
And that one really caught my eye, and I was like, I want to try it. And then Dragon Quest Builder, I just hear great things about the first one. So for me, that caught me. And then it was like Kingdom Hearts 3, right? And I was like, oh, cool. They're gonna add some content to it. So for me, Square Enix really brought their game. There was a lot of things that we weren't even expecting from them. You know, so that's the thing. So it was like, we already knew about Luigi's Mansion from last year. We already knew all that stuff. The only surprise that I was happy about was Banjo-Kazooie, but even then we had a leak that he was possibly already in it. So there you go, right?
Rico,
And then,
if I could just say something real quick.
yeah,
Yeah, to be nice. All right, denied. All right, got it. Anyway, so to be fair, I did not watch the Bethesda presentation. I did not watch the Devolver Digital presentation. I did not watch the Ubisoft presentation. So basically, my rating was between between SquareSoft, Microsoft, and Nintendo. And then of course, Sony doesn't really count because they did theirs the month prior. So
yeah,
yeah,
and
they already said they were.
and those
And
other
it wasn't
three,
very impressive
yeah.
to begin with.
and the other
Yeah.
3 don't count because one of them got me banned.
Yeah, exactly. What is up with that? You know, and I heard that they actually said that it's like, oh, we made a mistake. We're gonna fix it, guys.
Well,
We're
what
gonna
it
fix
wasn't
Yeah.
so much that Ubisoft made a mistake. It was the system. They had it already set up basically to, to detect certain things, just like all these
Yeah.
other companies do. And I guess they can go and like manually whitelist stuff, and they just didn't, or
wow.
whatever. But basically, it was more that it was set up the way it's supposed to be set up, but they didn't take any action prior to or anything like that to stop it from happening.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
exactly.
Yep.
Although I
made
think
it-
they're a little harsh for the strikes rather than claims or something.
I
but-
know, right?
Yeah, same thing happened last year.
That's
just as
pretty
Tabby points
extreme,
out.
guys. Yeah.
They created a
Yeah.
huge oopsie.
Yes,
All
they
right.
did.
So let's jump over to our next developer here.
More
'Cause-
Nintendo.
I know, right? Corey brought him up. So Xbox showed us some impressive games. We had 60 plus games.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with them this year. Usually I'm not. Also, they talked a little bit more about their new console, and they really hyped it up. And yeah, we saw a lot more. We're about games and not about what was the thing about last year? It was like a media for all.
Yeah.
So this time it was all about the games. So because they announced their new console and they're focusing on this console, do you believe that maybe consoles still have a fighting chance with all the games that are coming out and whatnot? So this is just an overall, what do you think of Xbox and their new thing? And then the second question is, do you think consoles still have a fighting chance? So let's go ahead and James, let's start with you.
Consoles still have a fighting chance because Google Stadia is now entering the market, and I am pretty sure that Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are eyeing to continue to bring consumers to their products. So they are going to do everything they can. They're going to fight tooth and nail to deliver a product to developers that allow them to continue bringing their games to their platform. So in regards to Xbox and Project Scarlet, some of the specifications that they were teasing or talking about in that trailer had me impressed. I'm like, I might be getting a new Xbox here in 2021 or 2020.
Right?
You know what I mean? And I am not a guy who usually buys into Xbox products, but the 120 frames per second. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that's what they mentioned, and an 8K resolution for gaming. And
Does anybody
we're
here
just
have an
now-
8K TV?
Right?
Well, I don't. I'm
You don't.
Yeah.
I do. I legitimately do.
Just
the TV
just two
wow,
photos
that's
together.
impressive.
The TV
Yeah,
I
I mean,
have,
4K,
the TV I have
yeah.
goes 4K, and then there's an option to enable 8K.
Oh wow. Yeah. I mean,
Which
4K
I did try with my
more
computer. Nothing runs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of 4K content coming to streaming services like YouTube, Hulu, Netflix, and it's not unrealistic to to expect that kind of game to be available to the home console. So I think Microsoft is anticipating that, because we've already got 8K gaming on PC. I mean, if you build the PC and you get the right parts, I mean,
Yeah, for like a
you're good to
$5,000 rig.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
I'd like to take out a loan for $5,000. I gotta build that. It's like, what are you building? But yeah, Microsoft is anticipating the developers' needs, and the developers, they want to be able to create a game without those limitations. They want to basically push the system as far as they can go and deliver a product to the players, to the consumers that would to drive them to the product they're delivering. So yeah, Microsoft's definitely got the right moves going into this. And Sony announcing their upcoming PlayStation 5. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting market here in the next 2 years.
Yep. Shadow.
To me, I think Project Scarlet is going to be something kind of new and interesting to me. But yeah, 8K resolution, all this stuff. To me, and I don't know, I haven't touched an Xbox since, again, the Xbox 360, so I haven't really touched the Xbox One. But to me, I feel like I want to buy an Xbox again just for this new console when it comes out. As for console gaming in general, hey, I still think it's going to run strong for a good long time. Even with mobile getting better and better, I still think console gaming is at its finest now that everyone's slowly collaborating together with cross-platforming and everything like that. I mean, come on, back in the day, everybody was all up in arms about, Xbox shouldn't play with Sony or Nintendo or this, and it's like, hey, now they're in partnerships. They're holding hands. The console war, as you would call it back in the day, is dying. It's gone. It's So I think it's a lovely partnership in a way. I think it's going to go strong.
Yep. What about you, Chadley?
Okay. Now I was I couldn't. Okay, go ahead, James.
Oh no, you're good. I'm sorry. I was just.
Okay. Yeah, I was I couldn't find my mouse pointer. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? So yeah, we're talking about Xbox now. Sorry, I was getting distracted by my cat a little bit. So
That's okay.
So yeah, I was just pulled up Xbox's website just to refresh my memory on all the different games and stuff that they were talking about. One of them that I kind of remembered that they showed off was Battletoads.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And
yeah.
So it was a whole new take on Battletoads, just with the updated graphics and everything. So I don't have Xbox, but if it comes to the PC, I'll definitely check it out, because I remember back in the day playing some Battletoads, and that game was awesome back in the day.
Yep.
Doom Eternal, that was another one that like I haven't played Doom in like forever, ever since probably the old Doom games that were DOS based, like that and Quake and those types of games. So like I'm an old school first person shooter basically.
Mm-hmm.
But like so like the new Doom 2016, like I've been meaning to try it, play it, but just haven't gotten around to it. And then Eternal just looks insane too. So, um, but yes, I mean, again, like someone else already mentioned about it being about the games more so than the hardware and all that kind of stuff. Like they definitely brought their game with a lot of games that they were listing off, whether they were remakes or just brand new titles or continuations of franchises that they've already had for a long time. So overall, I think they did pretty well with just the games that they brought to the table anyway.
Yep.
Corey?
So I think Xbox they showed off a lot of really awesome games, and like I said earlier, I kind of mentioned earlier, they got to, since they were like the first ones, they got to go and show all these games like as first looks and not plaster everybody's logos on top of them, right? So they got to look like they got all these exclusives, and they come out really strong. A couple of games that really come to mind that I'm looking forward to, and Dan actually mentioned this in our chat, is one of them, Minecraft Dungeons. They announced it for PC last year, and then they announced it at the Xbox show. And it actually, as soon as they dropped that preview on Xbox's presentation, Nintendo dropped their own trailer for it.
Yeah.
So, they just got to look like they're going first, and then everybody's like, well, actually, they get to look like the exclusives. But anyway, sorry, I digress on that. But they did get they just had a flurry, a whirlwind of games that are like going to be awesome, and I'm super excited for that. And I think, just as everybody's basically said, the console war is kind of dying, and consoles as a thing though are going to be stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Stadia is going to push that to thrive, to be a thing. I won't go too much into Stadia right now because I know that's on our later for our docket for later anyway. But anyways, Stadia is going to push that to happen. Stadia is going to make all these consoles thrive just as much or more.
Mm-hmm.
And I am excited to see the future, because all it does is bring good stuff for us as gamers.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
I agree.
Because no matter what, at the end of the day, whether it's Stadia, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Nintendo, PlayStation, it doesn't matter. The more competition, the better the games we're going to end up getting on these consoles, regardless.
Yeah.
On one of these consoles or all these consoles or whatever. So anyways, point being, I think Microsoft did a great job with their games they showcased. I'm very excited about a lot of them, and console gaming is still going to continue for sure.
There we go. Benj, what about you? Mic drop, right?
Yeah.
I remember back when I did get a 360 when the console war was still hot. 360, all the trash talking about PlayStation 3 and all that good stuff. I would, based on their presentation and what they're offering, I wouldn't mind giving Xbox another shot again, because for one, I was a Gears of War junkie back in the day. I wasn't pro or anything. I was kind of trash, but the
That's
co-op
okay.
was so fun in those games, and then the gameplay and the story was really intense. I love the Halo campaign, so to see them, go all in with Halo again to show they got something waiting for you, that another awesome thing. And Battletoads, holy crap. I couldn't believe what I saw. It just reminded me of all the pain and suffering I had with Battletoads. And then when I was playing Battletoads verse, I forgot, I think they just called it Battletoads and Double Dragon, which was such an awesome crossover. So all those memories came back, and just seeing what they offer. Xbox, they can hit the right marks when they want to. I'm not a shooter fan, because really Xbox has like plethora of shooters, but they have a strong presence. They always had a strong presence. So I could see myself giving them a shot when the time is right. As far as, you know, the whole is console still going to be a thing? Oh, heck yeah, it's still going to be a thing because, like Corey said, competition is always going to push you to do more. And, you know, I for one don't want consoles to go down because look at what happened to all my favorite video stores thanks to Netflix.
Mhm.
I don't want that to happen to my consoles now. I've grown up off consoles, so I really expect them to really push and fight against, you know, Stadia. I got nothing against Stadia. I mean, it sounds like Stadia has some awesome stuff, but at the same time, it's like I don't want like Stadia to be that thing that's gonna ruin console gaming. So
Mhm.
this is gonna force them to step their game up, and maybe we'll get less stupid season passes and get some more complete content.
Going the opposite way, my friend.
EA is like, what?
What did I hear? What loot boxes?
He's like, hold
Loot
my
boxes? Yeah, you know. Okay, you know what? I have to agree.
This is not beer, by the way.
Yeah.
I was very happily impressed with Xbox. Here's the thing. Their competition was always and has always been Sony. Every E3, trying to compete with each other, do a better presentation. With them not being there, I think it gave them the extra, pardon my language, but like the extra balls they needed to go up there and be like, look, here are the games we're gonna bring to you.
Nice.
And we got some beautiful games. And you know what? Which one really caught my eye was that Minecraft Dungeons game. I'm really intrigued with that game.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very,
Collabs or what?
yeah, I'm very
totally
excited.
Great.
You know.
Looks really good.
And then we got a nice, like, they talked about their Scarlet, and I was like, dude, I'm kind of, and I bought the Xbox S, and the hard drive died on it, and it's only lasted me 4 months. But in saying that, I mean, we could, it tempted me to be like, I want to try again, because Scarlet sounds really good. Now, in saying that, I mean, everybody's excited about this 8K thing. We have to remember about one thing. If we're doing 8K gaming, it's not going to be at 120 frames per second. We're talking about 30 frames a second, if that.
Max.
Yeah. But now 1080p, full HD, I can definitely see 120 for sure, hands down. You know, even the 4K, if they're pushing as what they're saying, 60 frames, I would say 4K, I can see them doing it.
Most stuff can only do 30 frames 4K these days anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the time, unless you have like super ridiculous hardware. So like that's really not even a thing that you know that people need to worry too much.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need to. But
Maybe they're shooting. Maybe they're shooting for it. I don't know.
Who knows,
Maybe,
right?
Yeah, no, I mean,
Let's
I'd
make it
still
happen.
like to see what they make happen. But yeah, as a typical kind of thing, like most of the time when you have 4K anything, it's when you're actually watching, when you're using anything that's natively 4K, it's typically 30 frames for the most part.
I was kind of, the only thing that disappointed me, and I was very sad about it, was they said they were going to announce something that was going to be huge and game-changing for gamers. But,
That wasn't.
I mean, I didn't hear anything other than the Scarlet. I mean, I was expecting to hear about their hologram thing that they kind of showed off that one year, or
the HoloLens.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
the
I
Microsoft
remember
HoloLens.
that.
right?
Yeah.
They showed us once, we saw it, they spun the world of Minecraft, and they were like, look at this, you can do this in the game now if we do
Ray
this.
tracing in Minecraft.
Yeah, and that was it. We didn't hear nothing about it, and then even till today we haven't heard anything about it. So I was like, was the console the mind-blowing? Because yes, it was mind-blowing, but it wasn't like that was gonna change gaming as we knew it. But overall,
Maybe the VR stuff's just too expensive.
maybe.
I don't know.
But overall, Microsoft did a good job. That's all I got to say. Like I said, I'm normally hating them hard, but if they can turn on and impress me, I mean, who knows? Maybe Nintendo's actually teaching them this is what you do to be good.
That's like, come now,
Learn from
Padawan.
Senpai.
Yeah, come, Daniel-san. Wax on, wax off for me. All
Well,
right.
in this case, they truly are the senpai because they've been around since the late 1800s.
Oh yeah,
so,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
So it makes-
All right, so let's get to the nitty gritty here.
Hype.
The hype. Google Stadia showed off prices and some features,
Ooh.
but they didn't really answer a lot of our questions. They just kind of showed, this is what we're doing, this is how much it's gonna cost, and here's some stuff. Now, in saying that, they said all new games, if you didn't buy the subscription, were gonna be full price. I know some people got uproar about that because they said, hey, what the heck, if we don't own the game and we still have to download it off your thing, when they're not downloading it, sorry, they're not even offering that. It's you buy the game and you can stream it off them. Well, why do we pay full price for that if we're just streaming it off you? Right? So I know people are having, and they're saying, hey, no discount, too bad. That's so sad. Why do we need to give you one? So in saying that, what do you guys think of Stadia in whole? Are you impressed? Are you not impressed? What would you want to see? What are you hoping to see? And what do you think of this whole paying full price for a game if you don't pay for the subscription? So let's start with James.
And I should have tempered my expectations going into it when they did the Stadia Connect. With the pricing, I don't think it's fair. I think it's bull. It's like I am not convinced that this is the streaming service to end all streaming services now. I mean, since they did that Stadia Connect, it's almost like do you guys realize what what everybody's expecting from you guys? I mean, you want to come out with this streaming service and you want it to be accessible to as many people as possible. I mean, they're trying to connect everybody into this streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's get everyone to play on our platform, and then devs, you get to use our data centers to power your games. It'll be great. You'll get to play it on every computer that runs Chrome, every Pixel device. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. And here's the prices, and it's just like, well, that's disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
And that instantly that just made my decision right there, what they did with the price points. And I'm just like, really? So if I want to buy this game, I got to pay full price for it? Really? I mean, I might as well just go to Steam and just download it over to my PC and there, done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's I mean, you're still using data centers, Google's data centers to stream the game like after you purchase it. But what if the internet's out?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I download it directly to my PC, at least I'm still able to play it. But if I don't have access to the data center because we have these internet outages, which do happen quite often nowadays, for whatever reason. But now you don't even have access to the game that you paid full price for.
Yeah.
It's just better. Just go to the store, buy the game, download it to your PC, done. You don't even have to worry about an internet outage. So I think Google's making some big mistakes with the price points, and because of that, I'm not buying into it right away. I'm probably gonna wait and see what happens.
For sure. Dan, what do you think?
Well, I'd have to agree with you right there, James. Like, you're going to have to be paying full price for a game that if you don't have internet, see you later, bye. At least, like you said, Steam has an offline mode where even if you downloaded it, you bought it, it's still there, online or offline, regardless. So that's a disappointment in itself with Stadia as is. To me, personally, I think Stadia had this amazing hype. And it was great in the beginning, but once we started to find out the information more and more about it, what they didn't tell us, it kind of sounded more disappointing. Like, I did some research. So your game resolution is based on your megabits per second. So if you're 5 to 10 download megabits per second, you get 720p. 10 to 30 is roughly 1080p, 5.1 stereo sound, and 35 plus is like 4K resolution, surround sound, etc. Controllers are $70. This relies on Chromecast as of right now, and all these other things. It's seems more costly to do anything just to even play a game. When it's like, okay, if that's the case, I could just buy a cheap console and do the same thing.
Mhm.
So I don't know. To me, it's like Stadia sounds good hype-wise. Reality-wise, it's kind of disappointing until they fix some of their stuff, you know?
For sure.
So
Chadley, what are your thoughts?
I pretty much feel the same way as you guys. Like, I did watch the little sizzle. I don't even know if you would want to call it a presentation. It's more just like an advertisement at this point of like what they were going to be doing, and this is what we're hoping to do. And it was more of like a tech showcase more so than like giving. Well, I think Shadow said it. I think Dan said it, like giving us what we wanted to hear, I guess. Like, there's so many things that we wanted to hear from this service, and they just kind of like skirted around certain things,
Mm-hmm.
and just being very technical, making it sound like they were being overly intelligent about this to hype it up and everything. And like, for me, it's like I'm fortunate enough to have fast internet in my area, but it's not Google Fiber. This sounds like it's optimal for Google Fiber. Like, but if you have cable internet, which is spotty sometimes, depending on how many people on your node are using internet, like,
Yep.
like I've had issues where, like, yeah, my streams start acting up because it's like peak time of the day for my neighborhood or something like that, you know?
Yep.
And even though I'm uploading, if they're downloading, like, only so much data can be sent through. And like, if all of a sudden everyone in my neighborhood decides to get Stadia, there goes my internet. You know, it's like everybody trying to download at 35 megabit per second just to get 4K, like at 60 frames a second. Like, I don't see that being a reality for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a downer for a lot of people. It's going to be good for some people that live in the cities where internet is like super fast, a lot faster than what we can get it at. So I think it's where it's like they're kind of ahead of their time with this, which is kind of cool because they are kind of pushing technology and stuff. But at the same time, I don't think they're being very realistic of their whole customer base.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just hoping that some people will buy in, and then it'll take off, and then people will just not like. They'll be like, they'll look at the good things about it and just kind of forget about the fact that you're going to need this like super fast internet, and people just settle for 720p
Mm-hmm.
when they could just have a console that does it too and still get the same thing out of a console, if not better than what they could get with Stadia. So I don't know. I'm not sold on it. Like James, like, I'm not sold on it yet. Like, they'd have to really reassure me that, like, with my current setup, it's going to be flawless.
Yeah.
And no input lag. Like, they keep saying there's no input lag, but
flawless.
Sorry, to lighten the mood a little bit there.
no, sorry, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but
No, you're not a Debbie
Gosh.
Downer. No.
it's the thing. It's the thing. I
Can't
mean,
believe you.
they're
It
making
sounds
all
like
these.
hot carbo.
Yeah. They make it seem like this great thing, which is awesome because it's Google and everything, and they always make the greatest stuff, right?
Yep.
Google Plus was like the best service ever. So
Yeah.
There it is.
And
yeah.
they try to push it to
So yeah, I'm not sold, not yet anyway.
Corey, what about you, buddy?
So hot take, completely unpopular opinion here. I have already pre-purchased my my founders pack.
Okay, how do I kick
so
them out?
In November, I'll be letting you guys know how good it is. Now, we have talked about this before, and I have had the experience of playing via Google Stream, which is what is now Stadia.
Yeah.
I was in the beta last year in November, something like that.
Mhm.
Obviously, it was a beta, and so I can't say it'll perform exactly the same. But what I can say is that input lag was almost non-existent. I can say that I had a pretty crappy, like my equipment was pretty crappy at the time, and I've upgraded all my network equipment since then. Of course, I am fortunate enough to have 300 down internet and 30 up, so I have a half decent internet connection that I know can handle it. But honestly, the speeds that they tell you need are not that intense. But I do agree personally that the world as a whole is not ready for this yet.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I don't think it couldn't be a good service and that it'll automatically just flop before it even does anything right.
Yeah.
And the pricing isn't bad either. The $10 a month you pay for the subscription gets you this, get you a rotating, or maybe not rotating, library or whatever. But if you don't have a subscription, you can then buy games. Now, people are upset about the whole not owning, not being able to download games and all that stuff. Does anybody here remember when PlayStation Now first started? Because you could not download games for the longest time.
True.
That was a big thing. Now, they changed it. Obviously, that's changed now.
Mhm.
So maybe Google will kind of see the same. Again, like we keep saying about like Nintendo, right? The outcry can potentially make things change.
Yeah.
Maybe they will see reason, but the whole no downloading thing to me fits because this is supposed to be a service that you can pick up and play anywhere, right? Obviously internet permitting, but I mean, like, you can play anywhere. But you don't have to necessarily pick up a hard drive and take it with you. That would defeat the purpose. So I can, to a point, understand them not wanting you to download stuff. But like I said, I mean, when PlayStation Now started, you couldn't download anything.
Yeah.
And you had to stream, and it was crappy at first, and it's still going. I remember I had it when it first came out, and it was pretty terrible. A renting system would be great, Chadley. I agree, and I think that we still don't know. We don't know that we know everything.
Yeah.
Just the stuff they've showed us isn't necessarily all that we have or all that they're going to bring out. It doesn't even release into the Founders beta stuff until November. And then there's it's going to be like 6 months to a year before like they release it officially.
Mm-hmm.
And that with the Founders like feedback and everything, they're going to be making all kind of changes, presumably. That's the point of this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ryan said, it's kind of tough to judge at the moment. I'm excited for it. I can see many upsides. I can see downsides, of course, but I think to me, I'd like to try it for $130 for the Founders Pack. If I don't like it after the $30, it's fine. I've spent that kind of money on games and not played them, so it's whatever. But I think it'll be cool. I'm pretty excited for it. I do think it'll drive the competition. I think something like this, not saying Stadia itself, but this kind of thing is what drives internet companies and all to perform, to put better equipment and all eventually. Not saying that the day it launches, then our ISPs will all lay down fiber and switch everybody over and stuff.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of thing that does drive progress like that overall. Whether Google does it or they die out and somebody else does, but that's how this kind of, this stuff is the innovation here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, me and Jesse bought his Stadia pack too, his Founder pack. So we'll be playing online together on on Stadia.
There you go.
Now, Corey, you can bring somebody on board with you with that.
You can, but the problem is you need a controller. They need a controller still.
Yeah.
Ah, right.
So they only have to spend 70 out of the 30. But at that point, if they're that sold onto it, maybe they're gonna buy into it, buy their own pack.
No, for sure.
May I interject for a second? I wanted to ask Corey a simple question.
Yeah.
I heard there was supposed to be a family pack coming, like a family multiple account thing coming soon to Stadia 2. Is this true?
I don't work for Stadia. I haven't heard anything about it. I didn't hear anything about that personally. It would make sense, but I don't know at all. So
Okay.
Sorry, Corey, we thought you had the answer.
I tried. I wanted to have the answer. Listen, you don't understand. I've been researching this stuff, okay? I haven't heard anything about that, so I don't know. But I don't have any inside information or anything.
Venge, what are your thoughts?
Me, I don't even know where to start because I'm just gonna have to keep it 200 when it comes to this whole Stadia thing.
Yep.
Yes, it's definitely something that sounds absolutely amazing. And when it comes to the growth of technology, it's always interesting to see how far technology can go. As long as it doesn't wind up like Terminator and we got Skynet. As long as we don't think that.
Oh, we will. You already know it.
All right. Well, I'll be on the
Just
front line.
embrace it, man. Just embrace it. I'm totally not a Terminator.
Yeah.
Beep boop.
Well, for me personally, it's like I don't even care about all the 4Ks, 8Ks, and the 2Ks.
Mhm.
I mean, like, no reference to 2K sports.
What? You don't like the Ks? Wow. I
Like,
want 45K, man.
I'm too old school. I just like, as long as it looks okay, I'm fine, because like how many Ks do I need? Do I want my eyes to just bleed out looking at like all of this color and stuff? That's
Yes,
just
yes,
me.
you do.
That's what I'm saying. 45K, man.
I'm already wearing glasses.
45K, we don't stop there. We want 60K.
We want 60K
Keep watching till you
At-
bleed out.
at 400 frames per second, my friend.
But to stay with the subject, though. This dude, shut up. I would say this. My concern when it comes to Stadia is more like accessibility.
Yeah.
Because like not everyone is going to be able to experience. You're going to have experiences. Some people are going to. Me, like, I'm kind of tech savvy, but I'm not tech savvy in terms of understanding specs and all that. There's been so many times I buy something thinking that I got enough to handle something, and then it turns out I don't. Stupid. But it's just accessibility, and is it really going to work? Because it always sounds good. Then when it happens, it's a hot mess. Hopefully it turns out to be something good. I honestly don't know. And I'm sitting here asking when I read that thing, like read the, file that you gave us with all the questions and stuff, I think I've been looking at that question the hardest, because I just have no idea how to answer that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
All I know is it's an accessibility thing. If they, do everything right, awesome. As far as did they shoot themselves in the foot with the whole 60, paying full price for the game? I definitely feel like it is, especially if people really got to go through a lot of hurdles just to get Stadia up and running.
Yeah.
And then you have to worry about subscription fees, paying the internet service provider, paying for fiber, seeing if you even have fiber, even
don't need no
attempt
fiber.
to do it.
Got
I
cable
don't care
here,
about
man.
fiber. Just give me
Cable. Don't need no fiber.
All right.
I don't know. It's like whatever it is, whatever it is that they give you, you just hope like heck. I'm not saying the other one, that it actually works. It's like you just got to go through a lot, just like how Chadley was saying with Mario Maker, how you got to jump through hurdles just to get local gameplay to work, like playing with people in your house. You wouldn't think it'd be that tedious.
Yeah.
And I don't like tedious stuff. So, if it's tedious, I probably wouldn't waste my time with that, especially if I have to do a bunch of soul searching and digging. And I don't got time for that.
For sure. Yeah. In my opinion. Oh my god. We already have. That's funny. That's funny. Okay. So in saying that, you know what? Okay, the $60 paying full price for games. If we are strictly going online, and let's say they don't offer the download feature, let's say they get rid of that, I feel we shouldn't have to pay full price. I feel they should turn around and say, look, because you're just gonna play that game and we're still providing Stadia to you, but you're paying for that game, and if the internet's out, then you don't get to play the game. I don't mind paying if the game here, especially here, because the game costs $79 here. You add the tax in, it's $90. So if they turn around and said to me, okay, Rod, you're gonna pay $50 for the game, I'm down for that. You know, okay, I can accept paying $50 for a game that costs $79 because I'm not keeping the game. They're still keeping it. You know, it's still their game.
Can I make a comparison real quick?
Yeah.
Steam. Now, you can talk about Steam sales all you want, but let's exclude that because Steam does sell games at full price, right? Yep. Even though it's silly to pay a full price for a game on Steam because they go on sale so often. But anyways, we can put that aside. You buy a game on Steam, whether you download it or not, let's say Steam goes under. Let's just use that as a thing, right? Steam goes under. You do not have access to your games anymore. Period. Even if you downloaded the files, you do not have the ability to play your games anymore.
Well, no, because what do you call it? If Steam went under, like, okay, let's talk about.
Which I know is a slight bit of a different situation.
Because like
versus just not having internet.
Exactly, because like
some games can't be played in offline mode on Steam either, though.
Sure, it can. Like, well, except for the online stuff. But if you're playing a regular, let's take Doom 2016. When I didn't have internet for a little bit, I still played the game.
But I'm pretty sure there are games that cannot be played in the offline mode, even other than like MMOs and things like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I still think that like some games don't have that ability as well.
I don't know. Like most of the games I purchase, I've never had an issue with. Usually it's just like offline mode. You can't access the internet, and then you just start the game anyways. I know there are games that you need to save data online, and then even if you go in, you're starting all the time a new file. So I see where you're coming from. But at the end of the day, it's like what you said, right? Again, Steam, they don't charge you tax. Well, at least here in Canada, I've never been charged tax from Steam.
Tax here.
You know,
everything's charged tax in Louisiana now.
So it's like it's $79, right? You speak Spanish? I do speak Spanish. It's $79 that I'm paying $80. Period. That's it. I mean, I'm just looking at the sense of if I'm gonna be playing something online only, and I can't access it without having their access. I just want a little bit of a discount. I'm not asking for the game for free.
Sure. No, I don't think you're wrong in asking for that.
It's just more like a half and half thing. All right, you're providing the service, but I just want that one game type situation. In saying that, though, it's like Stadia. It's like what everybody says. They have the right idea. I think the way they're executing it is a little backwards. And I think we're technically not ready for all that craziness that's happening.
No.
But I don't think they're, I just think they're just a little bit, how can I explain it?
Excited.
They're super excited about it. And there's something new. And it's like what Matt said from the Game Theorist. And he made a good point. I watched this video on him like 2 days ago about this. Google in whole owns YouTube, right? When you stream, they turn around and said, oh, hold on, give me a second. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the TacoTeam. Welcome to the family, that one kid. So they turned around and said that a lot of the streams will be accessible through YouTube. And Matt made a point. He goes, well, YouTube has a lot of rules and regulations with games that cause a lot of violence. Like apparently Mortal Kombat is like a huge... You're gonna get no monetization whatsoever for that game because it's so gruesome, right?
Yeah.
So he was saying Google's basically shooting themselves in the foot because that's what they're promoting. Mortal Kombat, Doom Eternal, all these great games, and they're saying it's gonna be on YouTube side. But now, you stream those games, you're not being monetized, and these are for like people like him. He was saying he counts on that. So he's like, why am I gonna want to stream then with
for one
Stadia?
Thing, though,
to go through
ad revenue comes from the advertisers who have the choice there.
Exactly,
like it's not only on YouTube to say this. Like they have a system that determines some of this stuff.
No, I know he explains all that, but he was saying like when he did Mortal Kombat, that's why a lot of people don't do it anymore because he's like when they did Mortal Kombat, he has a red emblem now, not even yellow. Yeah. His is red, and he's like he's not
for advertising.
Yeah, he's not getting any advertisement for it. So he's like, so why is Google promoting YouTube for this? If YouTube has all these rules, they're gonna have to figure something out and quick because Stadia is around the corner. And he's like,
right?
They're kind of shooting themselves. They're shooting themselves in the foot with themselves. Yeah, does that make sense?
Maybe. If I could just chime in real quick. And I've actually thought about this for a little bit, and I didn't think it was a big deal, but now that you mention it, and I haven't seen Matt Pat's video, I'm gonna actually go watch it as soon as we're done here. But anyway, in regards to advertiser friendly like content, I know that the Creator Insider channel, I don't know if you guys follow that, but they posted some content in regards to certain content that can't be depicted on any of your videos. One of the things that they were very, very specific about is, like, if you're a video game content creator and if you're playing a game where where it depicts the use of guns, you will not be demonetized for that type of content. And I didn't think that was something that made sense, because I'm pretty confident.
You will not be demonetized, you said?
Right. Yeah. So I'm wondering if Google's going to make some adjustments to YouTube in regards to, Google Stadia coming out, and because one of the things that they were talking about specifically was, live video, or not. I'm sorry, not live videos, but basically, if you're, a gun enthusiast and you're, teaching how to assemble a gun in real life, that will be demonetized. That'll automatically get the yellow demonetization symbol. But video game related content, for whatever reason, I felt that maybe that might have been a mistake. I got to go back and re-verify, but that was in one of the Creator Insider videos when talking about monetization and demonetization.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things when it comes to demonetization. I mean, but it's fishy too, because they were saying a lot of gore can't be seen, but I've played Doom 2016 on my channel. Yeah. Not once was I demonetized for that. I'm Green Emblem, but then you have people who are playing Mortal Kombat, and technically it's almost the same amount of gore, different type of gore. Same amount of gore, so there's lots of blood, but I mean, in this case, now you're tearing someone's spine out, where in Doom you're smashing their heads in, right?
Is it based on your channel size? Because
I don't know. That's the thing, right? Because I mean,
one thing that happens is if you get demonetized, there is a dispute process, but you're not allowed to dispute it unless that video gets a certain number of views.
Right. Yeah.
So I wonder if the demonetization stuff is, tied with that kind of thing as well. So like us being much smaller channels, we don't get the kind of views that their system, goes for, basically, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I have a theory.
A game theory?
No. Hold on 1 second. So I walked into that one. That was my fault. But anyway, so my thought is, because Google Stadia, they want to promote that platform. I anticipate that the leadership at Google will be like, look, YouTube, I think it's great that you guys are being very advertiser friendly. We want you to make sure that our advertisers, feel comfortable, promoting their product and using our platform as a way of advertising to the consumer. But you know what, we want Google Stadia to thrive, and we want it to be accessible by everyone. So let's lay off on the demonetization of the video game content that contains stuff, because we're kind of contradicting ourselves. You know what I mean? So I anticipate that could potentially happen. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
They may not even change it at all. They might, the CEO of YouTube might be like, no, we can't do that. We're not going to do that, because we just made all these changes and we're making some good progress and doing good things here. So they may not even change it at all. But YouTube is a Google company, which is owned by, they've got investors and leadership that they have to talk to and that they're responsible to. So,
true.
Yeah, if you want your new service to become successful, you have to make some adjustments, and some people may not like that idea, but, Google has a lot of stake in this. If they want it to be successful, they're gonna have to make some adjustment to ensure that they are not, preventing themselves from being successful.
Exactly. I mean, we can go on and on and on about this, but we don't have much time. But The last thing I
Yeah.
will say is there's something I was thinking about, and we talked about this after the presentation happened, and that's what if we don't want to use Stadia's streaming service, right? What if we don't want to use their streaming service and we want to stream off of OBS, okay? And if Stadia already takes a good amount of megabytes from us for their thing, and now we're going to use OBS to do that, and let's say OBS takes sometimes a lot amount as well, I mean, are we going to see considerable lag? Do we have to bring everything down to 720? Now, in saying that, we're talking about upload speed versus download speed. But again, it still doesn't matter because technically there's still a little bit of upload speed that's going to be taken from Stadia from what I've read. So in my case, I have 300 megabytes download, but I don't have 35 upload. I have 15. Right? So what are we, the question, like, how are we going to deal with all that situation, right? So
I mean, it could possibly be a frame rate issue. I mean, because again, even for streaming for all of us, including you, it takes both upload and download speeds to even do this. So I mean, it might cause some considerable frame rate issues. It might cause some considerable lag. Who knows?
I just don't want to turn around and have to bring everything down to 720. Is basically what I'm saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you absolutely bring up a valid point. And going back to earlier when I mentioned that I was able to try out the service before, right? I actually streamed to YouTube through OBS while streaming the game down to my computer.
Okay.
And again, in my experience, limited experience during the beta, this is not necessarily representative of the final product because there's going to be potentially many more users playing it at once. But again, streaming it to my computer and then out to YouTube, I felt no difference in frame rates. I felt no difference in input lag or the lack of, really.
Yeah.
And the game was perfectly playable. And like, I didn't have like jitteriness or anything like that. So in the limited test runs that I got to do, it was fine. And this was back when I only had 10 megabits up anyway. Yeah. So I didn't even have, I was only streaming at 720, but bumping up to 1080 isn't that big of a difference, and you've got, a higher upload than I had at the time anyway. So realistically, I don't think it should be much of an issue. But again, none of us have it in our hands to know.
No, exactly.
Again, these are going to be things that I will bring up in our podcast for November. I promise you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll have it in my hands.
We're gonna be talking about that for sure. All right, we're sticking to this. There's a lot to talk about with Google, but we gotta move on. Okay, so we already talked a lot about Nintendo Z3, so I think we can kind of skip that now. I mean, there was a lot we talked about, Banjo-Kazooie and all that. So let's move on to something that caught my interest. So a leak in Nintendo came out and said, yes, there is a Nintendo Pro being made. Switch Pro being made. Or Switch 2, if you want to call it that. And apparently, we're looking at... Give me a second here, let me pull it up. It's doubling on the RAM. It's doubling on the space. Well, not even doubling, tripling on the space. We're getting 128 gigabytes of storage versus the 36 we got, or 38 or whatever it was that we got on the original one. We're dealing with 8 gigs of RAM, and we're still using the Tegra X1, but it's an upgraded version. And the reason why NVIDIA said that if they go to the X2, it's going to conflict with a lot of the games that were programmed for the X1. So, but what they're doing is
backwards compatibility.
Exactly. So they said what they want to do is they're going to stick with the X1, but it's going to be an upgraded one, smoother frame rate, 1080p, 60 frames a second, they said, guaranteed. And now they're saying once you dock it, you can have it in some games 4K 30 frames. That's what they're saying. Right? So I'm kind of very surprised about that. But in saying that, how do you all feel about this possible upgrade? Do you think it's time that we get an upgrade? Do you even think it's like, do we even need it? And they did say that there is going to be a higher battery life because of all this. better battery for it. And do you think that there is no, like, is there a point of getting a Pro? So we'll start with James.
Well, going back to why we get new consoles, like Sony's coming out with their new one, they teased that. Microsoft teased their console, and it's all about selling to the developers. If you want to get more developers to come on board and develop games specifically for your console, you got to make improvements over time. And there was also another security. I mean, there was a security flaw with the Tegra X1, which is used in the current Switch now. So that has to be addressed. And the new Tegra X1 processor coming out with is supposed to address that issue.
Yeah.
But with the Switch Pro, yes, better processing. That would allow for better games or larger file games to be utilized on the Switch. Now that would also require them to upgrade the cartridges, but that'll probably happen eventually once they agree to a price point, because the price point for the games is also determined by the cartridge size. But I like the fact that they are coming out with a Switch Mini. I'm hoping that they will have a cheaper price point for that, because that will increase accessibility to the consumer. I mean, with the Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo 2DS, those consoles were a lot cheaper. They were more affordable. Therefore, parents are able to buy that for their kids so they could play like the latest Pokemon game or whatever. So, a lower price point would definitely make the game, the console, more attainable. And then, of course, with the Switch Pro, you're basically advertising to the developers, hey, we've got a better system coming out. You guys have better ideas for what you guys want to create for video games. So here's our answer to you, the Switch Pro.
Yeah. No, for sure, I agree with you. Shadow, what do you think, buddy?
For Switch Pro, I mean, every console iteration is going to have its mess ups, so I think a Pro for these new generations of consoles, including the Switch, is a great idea. They're definitely fixing all the issues that the Switch had prior. So it's definitely a plus. They want to add more. They want to make it more accessible, more easier, not only just for developers and others, but for consumers, and which is great. My biggest issue though is you mentioned the X1 Integrity. That's what it's called? James?
Yeah, Integra, the X1 Integra.
Integra. So my biggest issue is the whole beginning. What was it? The Switch got hacked completely, by a lot of people. So is this issue fixed for the Pro? Will it be fixed? We don't know.
Well, apparently what Nvidia said was that's the reason why they're focusing on the X1, the new version, because it's gonna fix the problems.
Yeah.
And
okay. This isn't a flaw that only exists for the Switch, by the way, based on this chip. So they definitely they have improved and fixed it, or hopefully fixed it anyways, on the newer revisions of the chip for other hardware. Because while the exploits may be different or whatever for other hardware that has this chip, the exploits still exist.
Yeah.
With this chip in other hardware. So they definitely have, it's not even like, oh, we have to upgrade the Switch to fix this. No, we have to upgrade this this chip, and that's why we're putting the newer version into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people were asking why not the X2, and like they said, the compatibility issue they're having with the games we have now. I mean, they're gonna have to turn around and now fix that, and it's gonna cost money, and possibly that would mean re-releasing all that, and they're like, we don't want to deal with that. So re-release the X1.
Ports of the ports.
Exactly. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii U Deluxe.
No.
Revision 3.0.
But yeah,
Definitive edition.
Definitive. Yeah. So Mario Maker 2.0.
Mario Maker.
But
Maker 2 Deluxe.
But there you go. Yeah. Venge, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Okay, let me get my mind right. For the most part, when it comes to the whole, Nothing's wrong with that. Everyone else is doing it. Might as well do what all the other cool kids are doing and be just as cool, right? So for me personally, I mean, like, if it fixes all the problems, hey, I'm not complaining. I'll just wait until my Switch dies and get one.
Yeah.
Chadley, what are your thoughts on this? Hold on, my cat. Oh, cat's in heat and he's meowing. Give me a second.
Meowser.
Come here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, obviously, new revisions are a good thing because especially if there's issues with the processor that involves like security vulnerabilities and that kind of thing. Obviously, we want our information to be secure and safe. Obviously, it doesn't fix the old systems. So if we're that if we're that concerned about our security, like obviously we're going to have to upgrade to the new system anyway. If that's one of our concerns, obviously Nintendo feels very strongly about security and all that. I would hope. Everyone seems to be that way in the computer field anyway. At least from what I've seen with my job, there's a huge focus on security right now because there's so many different systems out there that have vulnerabilities, and there's constantly people that are trying to find these vulnerabilities to take exploitation of it to get your information. You know, to be able to. I mean, we all hear about it every day. How one company gets hacked and then 100,000 accounts get leaked out or whatever the case may be. So I mean, obviously with Nintendo, like we don't have to worry about that as much with their systems and the information that they gather from us, but technically we are paying for their online service if you're still paying for it anyway. So I mean, we do give them some information that's personal and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, yeah, the newer systems, they did it with the 3DS. I mean, they would always reiterate those systems, come out with different looks to them, hardware revisions. It only makes sense that they would continue to do that trend with the Switch as well. Make it more enticing for parents to buy it for their kids, to have it as the replacement for the Switch, you know, or I mean, a replacement for the 3DS. Having a smaller model makes sense for kids and things. Portability, even though it's already pretty easy to be, it's pretty portable already as it is. But so I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Like the Pro is what would interest me more so than the Mini. Because I only really play my Switch docked anyway, and my kids are the only ones that ever take it out of the dock and play on the couch or whatever. But yeah, I mean, a Pro version of the Switch would be what would excite me more. To see.
No, for sure. And Corey, what are your thoughts, buddy?
So the last time we heard rumors of this kind of stuff happening, I would have said, and probably did say, that it was way too early and that it was kind of dumb and this and that. But I did a little research while we were talking, and 3 years is kind of the magic mark. And if we're getting something new, I can't imagine it coming out before the end of this year. We haven't heard anything official, you know, anything like that. So that would pretty close to spot on for about 3 years, right? 3 years between the PS4 and the Pro, the Xbox One and the Xbox One X. Like it was all 3 years, and we're coming up on 3 years in March. So time wise, I'm like, you know what? That's cool. If we get the upgrades that you're talking about, I would still imagine that they're going to keep a similar price point, even if it has to go up like a little bit to kind of get this stuff. But you know, they always try and keep a fairly similar price point. The Xbox One X is kind of like a super upgrade, so it's a different story. But like, they usually keep a similar price point. So if we get upgrades that you talked about with a similar price point to what we paid already, I would upgrade. To see better performance and stuff. Like, I think the Switch performs admirably in a lot of situations, but it could be improved tons. And if we get something, you know, that a Pro version, you know, that has better graphics processor, even if slightly, you know, and a better processor and more RAM and things, yeah, I'd absolutely upgrade at this point. Like, we're at a good point where I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't feel so offended at this point. You know, I haven't heard these rumors recently, personally, but yeah, I mean, we keep hearing rumors and stuff, and we've heard rumors since like 6 months after the Switch came out that there was gonna be a mini. And when people talk about a Switch mini, I often go, "Oh, you mean a 3DS, right?" Because like, anyway, I don't know how much smaller you want to make a Switch. But yeah, a Pro, I'd absolutely upgrade to a Pro at like a similar price point for an actual upgrade of a console.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I agree with you 100%. I would definitely upgrade as well. I've had it for the Switch for a while. And you know what? This revision not necessarily will mean better hardware, but hopefully a fix or a better fix to their Joy-Cons, because even though they said that they fixed it a little bit, I'm still having issues. And because Little Man broke my old one, my first generation. This is apparently the second generation, and my Joy-Cons are still having issues. So, I mean, they last longer, but I'm still having that weird walking to the side or walking to up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right, last question, and then we go to viewers' questions. I only have one viewer question anyways. The last one is, out of all of this craziness that's happened, where has Sony been? Because we got, like James said, we got our one little thing from Sony.
Makes games too?
Yeah, we got our one little thing from
Sony, who dat?
from them, and that was it. And it was terrible, like you said, Corey. And it was. 100% agree with you. It was probably the only thing I was hyped for. Medieval. That's it.
Oh, I know. I'm excited for that,
Yeah.
actually.
Everything else was bad,
Daniel's my
but
boy.
I mean, exactly, Tiffany. Crickets. Because where are they? We haven't heard anything since E3. We didn't even hear anything during E3. We haven't heard anything after E3. I mean, all we heard was we're making PS5. Nothing. No announcement. Xbox announced their new console. They didn't even intimidate them. Now Sony's turning around and a couple of leaks are showing up, and they're, okay, yes, it's true. Still nothing from them. All these games are being announced left, right, and center. Nothing from them. So, I mean, what do you think's happening with them? So let's start with James.
They came out with a new TV.
Let's see here. Well, I guess they just, I don't know, maybe they've got a weak marketing like a weak marketing team. I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I mean, or maybe they're gonna take a page out of Nintendo and Microsoft, and then come back next year and just basically blow everybody out of the water with some really awesome announcements. I don't know. Maybe this year they're like, hey, let's kind of stay silent. I mean, we've got a huge new console. It's gonna be coming out, and let's like save all these games. Let's make them console exclusive, and then we'll just kind of do like what Nintendo and Microsoft does, and then just wow everybody, So I don't know, maybe this year they just felt like, since this is kind of a transition year for us, let's not go to E3 anymore. Let's kind of do our own state of play, and here's this game, and have a nice day, see you next year. So I don't know, man. I mean, maybe they'll surprise us next year. That's what I'm hoping for. I wouldn't count Sony out. I think they might. They might still be. They just might be waiting until next year.
For sure. What about you, Shadow?
People have taken the words out of my mouth in the chat. It's literally like Sony's acting like an angsty teenager of today, where it's just like, games.
Oh, I missed that.
What else? We don't know.
Avar, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the TacoTeam. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, they're just like, Dad, we don't know on everything else, though. You fill in the blanks. We'll tell you next year.
Oh, jeez. Hold on. Okay.
Awesome.
What about you, Chadley? What are your thoughts?
I figured it out, guys. They're just too busy selling those PlayStation classics.
That's what it is!
They're just too busy.
Get that out of
They don't got time for everything else. They've got so many of those PlayStation classics they gotta sell. They're like, we don't have time for E3.
PlayStation
And
Classic.
it had to be $15 before I would buy it.
Hey,
Oh my god.
$5.
it works, okay?
I got one into the box over there. I paid $15 for it.
Oh my goodness, man.
Too busy. Too busy for
Meanwhile,
E3.
Meanwhile, Sony's laughing at all of us. It's like, well, hey man, we got the most PlayStation 4 adopters out of any of the other. I mean, they're selling PlayStation 4s like they're,
Yeah.
everybody's got a PlayStation 4. It seems,
They're pulling an Oprah. You get a PS4. You get a PS4. Check under chair. It's a PS4.
There you go. Nice.
Corey, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Here's the big thing I'll say about Sony is that everybody can say what they want about Sony, but Sony's got tons of system sellers, currently speaking. We haven't seen anything, like a whole bunch new for system sellers. But Sony's always been in the business of system sellers.
Yeah.
And I don't expect that to change just because they decided not to go to E3 and show off what they got going on.
Yeah.
I think that they are working on something. They've got their series that are great. They still got like Nathan Drake. They still got like I don't know, God of War is exclusive and it's a system seller. The Last of Us, all these games. So we don't know that these games are never going to come back, right? We don't know that any of these games are fully over. And so when I think Sony, I will continue to think Sony is, system sellers, no matter what.
Yeah.
Xbox doesn't have that for me anymore. They've got, Halo's cool and all, but it's not a system seller anymore to me.
Yeah.
It is the system seller, if anything, for them, but it's not really that much. But like on Sony's end, they are not stopping, dude. They just because they didn't show anything off at E3, I don't think that means that they don't have anything coming up.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I look at it. And so whatever Sony throws out, like when they throw their big name stuff, it's the big name stuff. And that, they're sitting on Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter still, God of War, all these games. So they are gonna come out with something, and we're gonna be like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. No, for sure. Venge.
I love that.
I can't argue with what Corey said, because see,
Hey,
I mean,
Billy.
I can't lie and say I'm not a Sony pony, okay? Because I mean, I've got, I bought every single Sony console, and a lot of the
me too.
A lot of the games are
Infamous, yes.
like they got a lot of amazing ones. It even takes me back to when during the PlayStation, when the first PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
And they released Tekken 3, and Tekken 3 was
Oh my
like the
God,
most
Tekken 3.
idolized fighting game in history back then. And it's like, and they know how to drop some bombshells when they're ready. So, I mean, you can't underestimate them. If anything, they know what's going on. And they're like a ninja in the night, waiting
No, for sure.
for their time to try to strike back, because they see that they getting railroaded right now. So it's like, once again, that's the power of competition. It's like Sony has been on their high horse for the longest time, and now it's like you could tell that there's like this desperation, so to speak. I mean, come on, look at the success of the Direct, right? No other gaming industry giant has pulled something as big as that. I mean, the Direct was like, you might as well call that like a yearly E3. I mean, they was just giving you stuff all the time. That's probably one of the reasons, like when Rigo mentioned that thing about E3, that's one of the reasons why the E3 wasn't really that strong to him, because of the fact that we seen a lot of stuff over a year. And so it's like, now it's like Sony's trying to take a page out of that, but that wasn't very successful with all the stupid VR games. like people care about that. But well, some do. But I looked at that like I wanted to fall asleep when I was literally streaming that. It was like I was like, that's it, like 20 minutes of VR. Please, it was state of play, more like state of decay. So they
That's
got
an Xbox exclusive. You can't use that in regards to PlayStation.
That's true. That's true. So they gotta wake up. They gotta put their big boy pants on and realize that they're not number one anymore. It's like everybody's gunning for them now. It's like maybe they finally realized that and they're just waiting. They're trying to find that thing that's just gonna make you go, wowie zowie,
Find the sizzle. Find the sizzle. In saying that, though, we gotta think about this. Even though this was an epic failure, because let's be honest, it was.
It was.
This thing, give it a little bit, all right? Give it a little bit, and in a couple of years, they'll be like, do you guys remember this? And then it's super hot and rare. Everybody wants one now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you 100%. I know that Sony's not dead. I know I honestly agree with Corey and Benj, and I think they're just laying low right now because they're going to come to us with a huge explosion, and we're going to need mops everywhere. Because I don't know. I feel that they're gonna announce something big, even if it's just a console or some new games. But I don't know. I feel at the end of the day, what's hyping right now is the fact that Nintendo and Xbox are playing nice together, and I think that's what's really bringing the hype over. And because they're playing nice together, it's just right now Sony's looking for their way of bringing the hype back to that. Let's be real. They're hungry for it. They got a good taste of it, and now they're chasing the dragon. Let's just put it like that. They're chasing the dragon. All right, guys. So the viewer question we got for today. Holy crap! Jesus Christ!
Sony gonna be like boom.
Oh, somebody, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, Jesus, scared me.
Sony gonna be like, boom.
Yeah, Boo was right. All right.
That would be hilarious.
Everyone,
if it was
hashtag Corey in the chat. Show him some love.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sony be like,
jeez.
what did you say?
I know, right?
I felt like it had to be. It was like perfect.
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good one, man.
All
That was a
right.
good one.
We're Jesus. My heart is beating like crazy. How does everyone feel about new template like 3D World and new power-up? So I guess he was asking about Mario Maker. How do we feel about the new templates they're showing, like 3D World and all that stuff on Mario Maker 2, and about the new power-ups they pulled?
We have come full circle.
We have come full circle. That's right. We're back to Mario Maker 2. So let's start with James. What are your thoughts of Mario Maker's new their new stuff that they showed that now you got a chance to try?
I am super excited about it. I can't wait to see all the viewer levels that come out of it. And then of course, it's about time. And there's a potential with DLC and updates in the future. The Super Mario 3D World could just be the beginning. We might actually see more come out in a future update.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't just have to be Super Mario 3D World. I mean, we could speculate all day about what it could potentially be, but that just opens the game and reminds us all that, hey, just because the game just came out doesn't mean it's finished. They could add more game styles to the game later. So I'm really excited to see what people could do with Mario 3D World in the level editor and then of course try it out and play it in the future.
Nice. Dan, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Mario Maker 2. I mean, again, I'm loving it. I'm loving the whole aspect of it. It's my whole thing before was probably how most of you felt. Probably like it's gonna be another port of the original just on the Switch, blah blah blah. But like with all these new additions, To me, I love it. I love the story mode. Again, it's not the best, but it is fun enough. Replayability is high. The seeing what people can make up in levels is going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. I'm excited, but again, just they need to fix some things. They need to tweak some things. Again, yeah, like hitboxes are just gosh awful right now. It's a pain in the tuchus to get by with some levels. But other than that, yeah, no, I enjoy it immensely.
All right, Chadley, what do you think of all the new stuff they added to this one?
No, I think it was cool. Like the little bit that I have played, the 3D world is, I think, a nice change, because some of the mechanics are different than the 4 main styles that we've seen in the previous game.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of throws you off a little bit because it does look similar to the new Super Mario style. So then it's like when you go to try that first time to spin jump and realize that you can't spin jump, it's like, wait a second, I should be able to spin jump. But no, but then you got to remember it's 3D world, which
you long jump and stuff.
Yeah, which technically there's like a spin jump in 3D world, but it's more like once you're in the air and then he like glides.
Well, and you can also technically, there's a move you can do where you like hold up, press spin button, and then like press B or whatever, and you'll spin. You'll do like a helicopter up.
Yeah, which was the same mechanic in 3D world, like the actual game. But yeah, I mean, that and I'm just excited to see what other styles they're going to add in, because they obviously made it seem like there's going to be at least one more style coming soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the next update, when they add the Play with Friends update, I will call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just fix a bunch of other stuff too, hopefully, with a lot of the things that you guys have already seen with hitboxes and controller lag and things like that. Hopefully they're working on all that stuff now, instead of waiting 6 months down the road to fix some of that stuff. So
7 months, I call it.
Also, another thing I think we didn't mention was the bookmarks. The fact that the bookmarking isn't there, and the fact that a lot of you guys know that those you guys that are watching, like if you've submitted levels to us previously with regular Mario Maker, that might not happen anytime soon, because the people that made Warp World already have made an announcement saying that until bookmarking is in the game, there's really not much they can do to help us, because the Warp World helps us immensely to be able to play levels from viewers. It's very cumbersome for us to have you give us a level code and for us to have to manually type it in. That just slows the whole process down. It kills the vibe of the stream.
Does it.
So yeah, like bookmarking to me is just as important as good multiplayer that's not cumbersome as well. So
exactly.
If we can get friends and bookmarks in the next update, that would be awesome.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah, boom.
What about you, Corey?
I mean, I love the addition. I think so. I kind of want to talk about the physics, right? And everybody's talking about how the physics are different, and shell jumps are easier now, and spring jumps are harder, and POW drops I've discovered are easier. I kind of like that, to be honest, because I think that maybe it'll help us not only see the same exact top people playing the game and like maybe streaming these ridiculous levels and stuff. They'll have to get used to a new style of physics, basically, and that's just. It's not saying that I don't want the mechanics to still kind of be similar or whatever, but it would be a nice change, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting at, like to not necessarily just see the same people doing the same thing.
Yeah, what you're saying is like giving everybody now not just making them be special, but everybody getting a chance now.
Playing field,
Yeah.
Everybody who wasn't good at doing shell jumps. Well, I mean, some people can do them now that couldn't do them before.
Yeah.
True.
So it just kind of makes things a little. I think it's kind of nice. It's a little fresh. Also, we have to remember that things like shell jumps and all, I don't know that they were intended in the games originally, and like the old, the games that these games are modeled after. So them changing things like that in this game shouldn't be offensive to us.
No, not at all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it. I'm not this crazy Kaizo player. Maybe I'd be a little bit more upset if I were or something. But like, I don't know. The way I look at it is, it's a mashup, mix match game anyway. That doesn't quite follow the rules of the original. So when they modify something that wasn't intended originally, the uproar is insane to me. Like, it shouldn't be that way.
No, I agree with you. I mean, hey, if you want to see a pro play a Mario game crazily, that's why we have ROM hacks. That's why we have Real World. That's why we have Grand Poo World. These are levels that a regular Joe, let's say myself, I can't get past the second level from Grand Pooh Bear, but somebody who maybe is an expert at it can. Hence why they're experts at the game, right? Whereas now with Mario Maker 2, I feel that at least I have a fighting chance in those really hard levels. It's not just, whereas some of them it's like midair jumps, like, oh well, that's impossible, I can't do it, I don't know how to do it. And as of right now, it's a glitch to do midair, and probably in the next update they're probably going to take it away because Nintendo wants nothing to do with those stuff. They want people to feel equal. They already said that they want people to feel equal and enjoy the game. And if that's going to stop if that's going to stop someone, because it happens all the time. I'll be playing Mario Maker 1, it's like, midair, sorry guys, gotta skip the level, I can't do this level. Midair, sorry guys, I gotta skip this level. And in the end, you're not having fun because of that, right? So
yeah,
especially like 5 midairs in a row in some level.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Venge, what do you think, buddy?
In terms of like what they provided, they did an amazing job. I mean, in terms of the new stuff that they gave, even though, and the weird thing is for me, sometimes those minor changes are big. From those like vibrant, detailed backgrounds to what's going on in the foreground and the background. I mean, it makes it kind of confusing though. I really find it so dynamic and cool to see like Cat Bowser like literally all over the place flipping and shooting fireballs. But it gets so confusing sometimes because you're thinking that you're going to touch him and you're going to get hurt. And then that one time where there was this, that stupid fire dragon thing?
Oh, yeah.
I saw that thing coming down from the background, and that made me panic so bad because I'm like,
what is that?
All right, where's it going to come from? Like, is it coming to kill me? Like, what's going on? It's like...
Yes, it is. Always.
All of that dynamic is so epic to me. Even the way that how you interact with the environment, it's more... There's a lot more there, and it adds so much more. And so I'm very impressed with all of the extra things they added, even the objective-based levels. But once again, that just adds a whole nother level in regards to chaos. Like if someone sends you a level and they got this mad objective, like you got to get 300 coins before you meet the goal, and it's like, do you really expect me to play this level the whole time? No, like I'll try it.
Hey, I did that the other night. So I checked out the level and it's like 500 coins. I'm like, okay, so I did a little bit, got to like 200, and then I went into a door and I died and there was no checkpoint. I'm like, I'm not doing this again. Yep. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a whole nother level. Like, it can be chaotic at times, just like how you mentioned, all right, changing the physics and all that stuff to make it where it's more of an even playing field. Because, like, the one thing that I hate the most, especially when it comes to being a streamer, is when someone expects you to be able to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that, because I remember one time somebody came in with...
Glad you said that.
Spring jump.
Yeah,
right?
I was just like, thank you.
They changed the spring jump. They made it stupid now. It's like I have to change, like you literally have to relearn it because it's like okay, they made the P switch jump easier. They made the shell jumps easier. I never experienced that yet. But in terms of the spring jumps, that's really hard. And it's like there are some people that get so hung up on that, and they will berate you just for that. And it's like,
Yep.
that like it's important to make those changes and to make those fixes to where everyone can experience it equally because people have different skill sets and other people have to respect that. So I guess that's one of the problems with new mechanics. Like when it comes to new things, there's always going to be new expectations and there's going to be new struggles because I heard a lot of people were actually struggling with the game, surprisingly. But that shouldn't be the thing that puts down Mario Maker 2. Because some people were like, "Ugh, I don't like this game now," that sort of thing. It's like it shouldn't be like. I mean, they're giving you something
to have fun.
Aren't you tired of the same old thing?
No, exactly. No, and I'm it's like what Corey said. I'm here to have fun. I personally enjoy the game. You don't think I want to stream it every night? You don't think I want to play it every night? But I don't want to overdo it. Is my concern. Right. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I see 7 to 8 streamers playing Mario Maker 2. In the afternoon, it goes up to 20, 30, 40 people playing it. I mean, and that's not even to say Twitch. Twitch has gone up from the 3,000 that normally play Mario Maker. Yeah. It's gone up to 10,000 at one point I saw. And I was like, what? Even?
Yeah. Wait, hold on a second. What?
Yeah. There was 10,000 the day it came out. 10,000 were playing it.
Yeah. Let me just tell you how this. Wow. This is taking such a huge. It's taking everyone by storm. This morning, Darby at Blue Television Games, his stream broke 1,000 people watching.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Not typical for him. And it's not saying that he doesn't normally have a lot of people, but like he doesn't normally have 1,000 people watching. And his last 2 streams, he's hit 1,000 people watching. On that
is incredible.
Yeah,
for him. That is awesome.
It wasn't like trying to plug. Although everybody go subscribe to Darby.
But
just kidding.
but
yeah, like it's that kind of momentum,
Yeah.
And like, I mean, again, there's some people who are trying to pick up momentum with their channels going on to streaming with this game, and it's not working for them. But I mean, it's gonna work for some. It's gonna work for others. It's Mario Odyssey all over again. For some, a lot of people exploded, and for others, nobody exploded. I
don't want to explode.
It's a chance you take when you come streaming. But do you want to burn yourself out? Because that's what happened to our good friend DGR. Remember, he was playing Odyssey, and he burned himself out with Odyssey. And he was like, I'm done with Odyssey. Can't do it anymore.
Yeah, he pumped out so much Odyssey content, from like what if episodes to this to that, to, speedrun streams to you name it. He's done it all with Odyssey.
Exactly. So I mean, do you want to go through that, or do you want to just? For myself, Fridays has always been my Mario Maker days. I'm not gonna say that I'm strictly doing Fridays. I'll probably throw in a couple of normal days for Mario Maker, because I enjoy it, but I'm not gonna overdo it, even if. Let's say I was getting 30, 40, 80 people watching me. I just can't, because that fear of burning myself out over a great game. Because let's face it, the game is good. It's a fantastic game.
Great.
And that's my worry right now, that if I overdo it, that I will burn myself out, because I will overdo it.
Yep.
Can
I add something? Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
When you mentioned Burnout, that really hit home. Because of what happened the other day. Because I'm going to be real with you. I for one, I'm going to be playing it a bit more because I want to get better at the game, because I was getting kind of pretty salty lately because of how crazy the game is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that Burnout thing is a real thing, because like last night, and I was doing Mario Maker over on Twitter. So it was like, I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool. You know, we're gonna have fun or whatever. Play these levels.
Yep.
And then, you know, I was like, well, since, you know, the same typical music that everyone heard is playing it over, I was like, let me try and see how song requests would go, right? I underestimated the hype of Mario Maker 2, and the chat, I was like, holy crap. Especially what drove me bonkers was everyone was doing the whole warp world. They not doing that anymore. And then it was like I had to explain all stream, like, use this command, do not use that. And then people doing song requests. I was like, you know what? No, stop right there. We're not doing song requests anymore, right? Because you guys, you're not driving me crazy, but it's getting too chaotic because I got one person trying to argue with me over a level submission and 5 other people like, how do I input a level? I'm like,
dude, I know that.
Wait, stream over.
Yeah, no, but I know that feeling all too well. It's not just the burnout of playing the levels, it's the burnout of all those people just telling you how to do the game. Play my level, do this, do that. It got to the point where I've seen Mr. Rigo here pull a me, where it's just like you kind of get tired of the routine. It's like, look, if you're gonna bark at me to tell the stream, me the streamer how to do, play the game, then you got to donate. Either that or wait in line like everybody else, And I can't believe you got to that point, Rigo, because I felt bad. I was like, ooh.
No, well, man. I mean, it wasn't so much that. I mean, the guy, he came in and then it was like, I had a list. We had 20-something levels, 25 levels. I was going down the list. He happened to put it in. He's the last one. And then he pulls, well, you're not going to play my level. Nobody cares anyways. And I see that all you have is premium people. I'm like, well, no, that's not how it works, my friend. Yes, I have sponsors. They come first. That's the rule. Unfortunately, they're paying for it, and I want to make sure that they get what they're paying for, right? That's not bad.
Exactly.
And like I said to him, if you want your level to be played, either you wait, you sponsor, or you do something that you want. It's simple as that. Because there's nothing I can do. Don't give me that sob story that, oh, because you're not playing my level. I wasn't playing a lot of people's levels. It's just, we don't have Warp World. We don't have, like I told him, you can buy your level with the command. I have points for that. That's why I have the point system. That's why I have the point system. But if you're not going to use the point system and just sit there and cry to me that I'm not playing your level, I'm sorry. There are, 29 to 30 people watching. I have 30 to 40 levels. Hey, thank you, Solid, for subscribing. Welcome to the TacoTeam. Welcome to the family.
So it's like you can only do so much as one man.
Yeah, I can only do so much, and I don't want to play favoritism. I don't.
It was tough, man.
I already. It is.
That's why he doesn't want to.
And I already played. Well, I already play favoritism with the members. Let's be real. I do.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to because they're invested in you.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's a perfect example. What Tiffany's saying. Ryukar had 16K people watching him the first night he was playing it, only on Twitch side. Never mind on YouTube side. Did you guys were in this stream? He had 45,000 at one point. 45,000 on YouTube side, and people were play my level, and they were dropping hundreds of dollars for him to play their level.
Cool, I'd be like, all right.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. But what at the end of the day, what I'm getting at is, this is becoming, and it's amazing. I love it. I love that people are enthusiastic about it. I love that you want to send me your levels. I want to play your levels. I want to play the game. But it's going to burn us out as streamers and content creators. It's going to burn us out very quickly. And hence why, now I'm going to throw this in. July 6th, we're doing this mental illness awareness. Because of reasons like this. And we will talk more about it July 6th. Join us because we're going to be talking a lot about mental health and how we all get affected, from streamers to workplace, and why it affects us. So definitely want to join us for that. Guys, it's now close to 11 o'clock. We went past our time, which is fine.
But every time we do.
Every time.
It's been amazing. I gotta
It was fun. Thank you, James, for joining us. Thank you, Shadow, for joining us. Everyone,
Yeah, thanks,
pleasure.
guys.
everyone
Thank
here.
you so much for inviting me, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yes,
For sure.
Thank you, man. It's been
All
an
our
honor.
guests and our regulars, Chadley, Corey, Benj. You can see their links
Thanks.
in the description below. All their links are there. Subscribe to them. Give them some love. Show them some love. Guys, it was great. We had a great show. Thank you all. Viewers, thank you all for joining us today too. I super appreciate it. My friends, that is it for today. I super appreciate it. I will see you guys next month for another podcast. Thank you guys, and I'll see you, obviously, Corey,
Good night.
Chadley, and Benj next month as well.
Always.
And we'll see who
Bye,
we have
everybody.
next month as well for our special guest. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget the most important thing in the whole wide world. Come to my live stream. I'm super famous. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.